Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
And Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Amazing! We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, man. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode number 185, and for the first time in a month, we are your hosts, Matt.
And Jake.
He is back from his bender.
Yes, I'm back. I'm rusty, but I have definitely missed this. I've missed talking about football. I have enjoyed listening to the two episodes that you recorded without me. They were actually quite fun to check out from the perspective of a listener.
You sound surprised that they're actually quite fun, bro.
They were. I thought, to be honest, I was everything for this podcast, so I was surprised that they're still okay without me.
And I'm not surprised that you have that outlook. And for the first time in a while as well, our producers here, the man, the myth, the legend, Nick. Give us a scream, Nick.
Ah!
We have some hardware issues this week, for once. So we'll get Nick's voice back on air as soon as we can. Jake's trying to open a
I'm currently
Prosecco
losing
bottle.
aura.
Yeah,
What's with these plastic?
I can do it if you want.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's what happened.
Don't look at it while you do it, bro. A guy from Love Island lost his eye like that. This is our predictions episode, guys. This is the episode I hate the most in the entire year, because I try to make bold statements and they always end up biting me in the ass. I disagree with every single statement I have made over here, every prediction I've made. But fuck it, if we don't do it, then we won't keep you guys entertained.
Personally, I love this episode. It's one of my favorites to record every season.
Is it predictions, really?
Yeah. Because it's an opportunity to kind of take a look at every single club and see what they've done and to treat them equally. I mean, we do that every week, but usually it's in the context of one particular game. Like this, we get to look at the grander scheme of things.
Yeah. Nick doesn't get Prosecco, bro.
Even though he's on the job, huh?
Yeah. Our intern on the job. The way we're going to be doing this episode, guys, is we're going to go in order of last year's league standings. And we're going to do 5 minutes per team to discuss the team a little bit. And at the end of those 5 minutes, where Nick will be shouting, "Time!" we will say where we predict the teams will end up this season and what position. As we do that, if you're watching on YouTube, you can enjoy the standings, Matt's standings and Jake's standings on screen live. That way you can actually follow properly. And at the end, we'll also have Nick's predictions. So that'll be a nice laugh as well. I won't tell you what he said about Hellas Verona before we recorded this episode.
Speaking of Hellas Verona, we do have some new patrons we need to introduce. Over the last few days, people have been subscribing. I assume it's because they want to be in the Fantasy Football League, right? I don't blame them. That's great fun. Shout out to Domenico, Andrea, Lucas, Ben, Kyler, Daniel, Mohammed, Leo, Tyler, and Apo, who have all subscribed to become Spotheads and will be joining us in our Fantasy League.
It's a rich man's world. It's a lot of new patrons.
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much, guys. Ben happens to be a Hellas Verona fan. That's why the segue worked perfectly.
Yeah, and then
the first one in the group.
The first words he said were like, "Don't like attack me, but I'm a Hellas Verona
he was like,
fan."
Be nice.
Yeah. Before we jump into this episode, of course, a massive thanks go to our media partners, Benevo Bid. If you haven't checked the link in our bio yet, you're doing yourselves and all your loved ones a massive disservice. check them out. They get autographed items from top players, including match-issued kits. There are some absolute legends on there, as you're seeing on your screen now. And most of the proceeds go to Putino Cares. So hit the link in our description, get your bids in, sport some sick merch, and also help a cause. If you guys are new here, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. From now on, after this episode, we are back to doing weekly episodes covering every single match, every single team, every single week, giving equal attention to all 20 teams in Serie A and delving into quite a bit of detail, all whilst having a bit of a drink and a bit of fun. If you really love us, just like the 20 million legends we mentioned earlier, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month, and you can win a free kit of your choosing if you win our fantasy league.
Yes, while also you'll be supporting our content and funding the new microphone that we will inevitably have to buy Nick, who is going to lose his voice shouting "Stop!" today.
Or a mixer or whatever the hell we're buying, man.
Might be the way to go.
Research.
Yes, yes, definitely. We do need to research.
Let's just jump straight into
Yes.
it. Jump straight into it.
So we're gonna go in the order of last season's table, of course.
Exactly.
From Napoli all the way down to Lecce and then the 3 newly promoted teams.
Exactly. So who do we have in, the first team we're going to be covering? Not who do we have in first, but who's the first team we're going to be covering?
So the first team, obviously, we're going to be covering is Napoli, of course, and the greatest thing that Napoli have done this mercato, and they've done many great things, is actually to keep Antonio Conte.
I agree.
Because they have the best manager in the league and the most dominant domestic manager. One of the most in the world, yes, I would say, especially in Italy. I mean, we've seen him do it in England as well.
I believe it's
example.
5 out of 6 Scudetti that he has when competing in Serie A.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. So they've kept Conte, and not only have they done that, but their president, De Laurentiis, and owner, has learned from his previous mistake 2 seasons ago where they won the league and he let the best players leave, right? He let Kim Min-jae leave, he let Osimhen leave. This time, not only did he tie down the best players, but he managed to get some very good backups, if not potential starters. Who are these players? So there's Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, who is said to be the understudy of Meret for the entire season. Not so sure about that. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Vanja Milinkovic-Savic actually displacing Meret at some point throughout the season. So they have 2 goalkeepers who would start for many teams in Serie A. They've brought in Beukema from Bologna, who is a fantastic defender who will slot right in. That's a massive upgrade over Juan Jesus.
Yeah.
They've brought in Kevin De Bruyne, who, granted, everyone's joking about him and how unfit he looks in pre-season, but once he gets going, he's one of the best. I mean, he's a Manchester City legend. They've brought in Noah Lang, who had 11 goals and 10 assists in the league last season, and 2 goals and 2 assists in Champions League last season as well. Everyone knows Noah Lang. He's been linked to many of your favorite clubs.
Yeah.
Not to mention Lorenzo Lucca as well, who will be playing up front from the get-go, actually, because Lukaku has picked up quite a serious injury.
A 3-month injury.
Yes.
I agree with you completely. I think not only have they introduced a significant amount of quality depth, which will actually fight for their place and actually displace some of the individuals. Beukema walks straight in, depending in what form and shape De Bruyne is in, he will walk straight in there as well, and Luka will walk straight in, obviously, with Lukaku's injury, and perhaps even Noah Lang. But what this does as well, and even you could tell by the signings that were made, we saw Conte play 3, 4, 5 different formations last season. With the signing of Beukema, that is really going to allow him to play a 3 in the back formation as well. So not only will he do the 4-4-2 or the 4-3-3, but he can even go the 3 at the back formation, go the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3 as well. That is because he'll have Buongiorno, he'll have Beukema, and he'll have Rahmani, who are 3 fantastic centre backs.
Absolutely. For those of you who have not seen Beukema, he excels with the ball at his feet. He can ping a ball. And he's also very intelligent in the defensive phase, of course.
Yeah,
they have
bit of an animal as well. I draw comparison to him with Bonucci.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. They have also brought in Gutierrez, who many have overlooked. He has 107 La Liga appearances. 5 goals and 18 assists for Girona. He's a 24-year-old left back, so we assume that he will be also capable of playing on that left wing back role, maybe.
Yeah, and
left
I
back
also
in a 4-3-3.
Yeah, and I've also heard that they're looking for a right back as well before the season starts. So improving those flanks is perhaps a region. Their wing backs is perhaps a region they could have improved on from last season as well. Di Lorenzo is okay. He's a good right back. Not sure about him as a right wing back. And there was I forget his name.
They
but
were looking at a Spaniard, weren't they?
They were
There
looking
was
at a
some
Spaniard.
drama going on with that.
But I was gonna say the vice for Di Lorenzo last season wasn't great either. What was his name? Was Italian.
It was a Mazzocchi.
Mazzocchi, and then Spinazzola on the other side with Oliveira. You know that was an area where they could use reinforcements, and they have.
Yeah, they won the league with that, and they've upgraded in every department. Not to mention, while teams around them, their direct competitors for the league, have had some significant changes, so they do have the advantage of continuity. The only downside I see to this is that they're now balancing 3 competitions. So we'll see how they fare with the Champions League and if they focus on that at all. And how they had a massive advantage last season playing once a week.
Absolutely.
Right?
But they've prepared accordingly for it. They have the depth. I've seen, just now we received a message on the group chat, a screenshot of 2 possible complete different starting 11s that they can have. So that is time. I think we're going to agree here. Shall we do a 3-2-1? A 3-2-1 first. They will be the first team since 2020 to go back-to-back and win the Scudetto in our opinions, clearly.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys. Yeah, it's very anticlimactic when the winner just goes first.
Yep.
The only negative I see, which we didn't really have time to allude to, but I'll say is if things go south, I wouldn't be surprised if Conte and De Laurentiis clash heads, because they are at the end of the day 2 fiery characters.
Yes, however, with that being said, we have seen De Laurentiis also give a lot of power to Conte, who went in with some ridiculous demands that no one thought De Laurentiis was going to grant him, but De Laurentiis actually went ahead and did it. So I think Conte has a bit of power over here, and I don't think De Laurentiis minds that completely, because he saw that he was able to win the league with against an Inter that were competing for a treble, and perhaps with a team that shouldn't have been up there.
Absolutely, yes. Let's move on to second place last season. It was Inter.
Yes, sir.
So Inter have lost Inzaghi and have replaced him with Kivu, who has managed 13 games in Serie A for Parma. He did very well with Parma, making them into this kind of like set piece specialized team, and using those set piece strats to seal salvation.
Yeah.
In my opinion, even though they haven't really made many great signings that strike the eye, they brought in Sucic, who looks promising. He played regularly for Zagreb in the last 2 seasons, and they brought in Luis Enrique. As well as Pio Esposito
and Boni as well.
Yes.
So they've really addressed that vice striker situation.
Yes, and this is actually quite a breath of fresh air for Inter, because they, for the first time in a long time, don't have veteran substitute strikers. They have substitute strikers who are still at the beginning of their careers, who want to prove themselves.
And who will learn from the likes of Marcus Thuram, and even more so, captain Lautaro Martinez.
Absolutely. Pio Esposito is the real deal. He has 19 goals and 3 assists in Serie B and the playoffs last season. He looks hungry every time he's on the ball. He's eager to shoot. He's eager to fight for the ball in the box. While Boni, of course, is quite promising and knows Kivu. He has 6 goals and 4 assists last season. What do you think? Do you feel positively about Kivu?
No, I don't feel entirely positive about Kivu for the simple fact that we've known Inter as title favourites with 2 very well established domestic managers who were Inzaghi last season and the last few seasons, and before that Conte. And the thing is that before they got those managers, they were struggling significantly. So this is a moment of transition for Inter. They're getting a manager that doesn't have much experience. He just has 12, 13 games with Parma. We saw what he did though. He did a good job. He did a good job at youth level as well.
With Inter.
I think the team will respect Kivu, and I think he's a good manager. I think he has a lot to prove. It is also a moment of transition because, as we're seeing, they signed young players. Henrique is 23, Boni is 21, Sucic is 21, Pio Esposito is 19. So this is a huge moment of transition. So his job is to, in my opinion, get into top four. If he could get into top four, then I think they might even have a long-term project with Kivu, who clearly wasn't their first choice. However, they were looking at Fabregas, Patrick Vieira.
And it is known that Inzaghi had agreed to leave before the Champions League final, so Marotta had plenty of time to prepare for to set up an adequate replacement, right? I must say it has been very unlike Marotta, the way that this market has been handled. The fact that they have wasted so much time with the likes of Leone and Lookman, for example, and they've probably missed out on both of them.
And not only that, but they seem to have this 40 million that needs to go somewhere. They spend so much time looking at Lookman. And they're like, oh, drop Lookman, let's go for Kone. It's like, they're not exactly the similar position. So what is it that Inter are looking for? Are they looking for Lookman because he wants to play a 3-4-3 or a 4-3-3? Is he now looking at Kone because he wants to play a 3-5-2? So is that not even strategized yet? There are a few red flags that have been being raised. There's, of course, the fact that once again for another summer, they haven't had a break. Which is huge for them as well. They are massively burnt out after the huge season that they had last season, competing on all fronts for the majority of the season, and then the Club World Cup, and of course that drama that there was with Lautaro Martinez, with Hakan Çalhanoğlu, with Marotta, and this and that going on as well. So I don't think it is the perfect setting right now. I think it is a bit of a tough atmosphere to be in if you're representing Inter at the moment. But this is what a well-respected manager could do. If they look up to Kivu, and Kivu is a good manager, then he could really ground these players and get them to play for the team.
Because in reality, he has the most experienced players in the league at every level. He's got top players in every department. If you look at Sommer, Bastoni, Di Marco, Barella, Çalhanoğlu, Lautaro.
He has that
guys,
team.
He's got probably the best team in the league, right?
I agree completely.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed bag over here when it comes to level, because the level of the coach is bottom tier in the league from what we've seen from the tape, but then the quality of the team is very good.
Exactly.
So
it's a very, very interesting one with Inter, and I'm excited to watch Inter play next year, because was it all Simone, was it all Conte, or I'm gonna go out on a limb and say time. I think, like you said, they have the best players in the league. I think if you have Bastoni, if you have Barella, and you have Lautaro Martinez, and you have someone with half a brain cell, not to discredit any coaches, I think you could get something going on the pitch. I think they go for top four. I think they'll manage third. I think Inter will actually be quite attacking and quite exciting next season.
Very interesting. I've got them in fourth. Yes, I think there might be some drama around Kivu, some unrest, some tough phases for them, but I still think that they are too good to miss out on that top four spot.
I completely agree. It's down to the individuals, in my opinion. We can talk about the manager all day, and we'll see. We will be talking a lot about managers, because managers have really influenced certain decisions that I've made. But Inter aren't one of those teams, because Inter are a top team.
Absolutely.
On to the next, we've got... Oh, here we go. Now it begins, because we've got Atalanta now. Atalanta have lost Gasperini after 9 years in charge of the team. And when you think Atalanta, you will forever think of Gasperini, because Gasperini is the guy that turned Atalanta from a mid-table team into a Champions League team, into a Europa League winning team. He is the guy that turned Retegui into a capocannoniere. He's the guy that turned so many players into world-class players.
The guy who revived Ilicic, who got the best out of him, Papu Gomez.
Cope Miners was an absolute beast. Muriel, Duvan Zapata.
Many players that have since... It's been forgotten that they played under Gasperini, the likes of Mancini, the likes of Gagliardini, who moved to Inter, Frank Kessie, who moved to Milan.
Capital gains, baby, capital gains. That's all that's screaming. So Gasperini obviously influenced the team way more than just with his coaching, but it's to me that this guy is much more than a manager. They've lost him. And they've replaced him with a certain Ivan Juric. We remember Juric fondly from his days at Torino because he really stabilized the team and maybe didn't get the best out of them but solidified them. We don't remember him so fondly for his very short stint at Roma, which I think was a little bit unfair. He was set up for failure for sure over there. And even with Southampton, to be fair, he was set up for failure because they were the worst team in Premier League history even before he joined, in my opinion. Juric plays a similar style and system to Gasperini. But he is inheriting, in my opinion, a weaker squad because they have lost Retegui to Saudi, and it doesn't feel to me that they have invested so much in replacing him. They now have just signed Kristovic. That is somewhat of, I wouldn't say breaking news, but it is news. They might lose Lookman, but he has recently travelled back from London where he was in hiding and went back to Bergamo. And something tells me he might be there next season.
Yes, it's not the first time we've seen this. Lookman tried to jump ship when PSG were after him for 20 million the season before. And eventually he made peace and joined the team for the rest of the season. I'm not so confident that Atalanta will have a good season, to be honest with you. I think they will lose a lot of their firepower. Granted, they've brought in Zalewski as well from Inter.
Zalewski, Sulemana, Ahanor. Yeah.
But yes, I think that Juric is too conservative and it's too risky. They have a good squad. Granted, they have some good players. Karnesecki, Darun, Ederson, Bellanova, Scamacca. They're good. They brought in Sulemana, who was one of the only positives for Southampton under Juric. That isn't saying much. Yes, but I think that this is awfully risky, and I think they've lost too many players and they haven't quite reinvested impressively yet. And I wonder, like, if you had to tell me that Gasperini was getting his hands on Kristovic, that would excite me a lot. But I'm not sure if it's going to translate in the same way under Juric.
Are the steroids still there? Are the steroids still there without Gasperini? Sorry, it's just a joke. This is, I'm not gonna lie, I moved Atalanta around a lot in my predictions.
It seems
I had
harsh
them.
where I have them.
I had them in a harsher spot and then I fixed it. I do want to make it clear, it changes a lot if they lose Lookman. If they lose Lookman, I think that could influence my decision a lot, like 2 positions, 3 positions, bro, with or without Lookman.
I don't see this relationship to be fixable, quite frankly. So much harm has been made, so much damage has been done, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fans have been writing banners against him around Bergamo. He wrote publicly that he wants to leave, you know what I mean? Like, and it's the second time he's done it. It would be weird to me to see him playing at Atalanta next.
But didn't this happen last time?
Yes,
and he came back and acted like a true professional, like.
Yeah, but I wonder if the club and if Lookman are willing to do that twice in a row.
Yeah. He cheated on them for a second time. That's very different to the first. That's a lot. I don't know how much more there is to discuss about Atalanta. To be honest, I think I think we've hit the nail on the head. Well, we've discussed the majority of things there are to discuss. El Bilal Touré, an interesting one.
Is he
because
back?
He's back there playing in pre-season and he's already written something like, they don't understand my value on social media. So that's interesting. But Kristovic is a good signing. Keep in mind they have Scamacca as well. They were looking at Muniz of Fulham, and he's a beast. He's very good. I think he was open to leaving, if I'm not mistaken. But
Okay.
So where do you have them? Moment of truth.
I have them in 10th.
I had them in 10th, but I moved them up to 7th.
Okay. You moved them above. Okay. I won't spoil it.
Don't spoil anything.
No.
I've moved them. 10th is harsh as hell.
10th is harsh, man, but
If they keep Lookman, is it still 10th?
Yes, I am a firm
Oh
believer
my God.
in managers, man. I think managers are extremely important and they're very telling as to where a team can end up.
But this is the same.
You look at Milan
11.
when they lost Pioli and they brought in Fonseca, and Fonseca wasn't even hailed to be a terrible manager at the time. You know, it was quite promising. They dropped down to 10th, Milan, and Milan had a much better team than Atalanta have.
8th.
Yeah, we are. I think there are too many coaches who are better than Juric in that league. Now, don't get me wrong, Juric is a defensively solid coach, who did quite a good job at Torino. But I simply can't see them breaking into a European spot.
Fair, bro. I had them in 10th up until like an hour ago, so I'm not going to argue with you too much. I put them in 7th because I think individually they have players with certain characteristics that can drag them over the line. I think I changed my mind when I thought of players like Martin Derone, bro. Players that have that pedigree, that have that experience, and the squad, technically, they've been around each other for a while. So much like Inter, in that sense, there is that element of camaraderie and they know how to play together. So if Juric stables them a bit more defensively and gives them that liberty offensively, I'm not saying they're going to do well. 7th is a disappointment, but somewhere between 7th, I think 7th is good for this transition. I think 10th is probably the worst case scenario. I don't see them going any lower than that.
All right.
Next up, we've got Juve.
Now, Juve have the advantage of continuity with Tudor. They have brought in João Mario and David, who will probably pop into the starting 11, both of them.
Jonathan David in the starting 11. They should be wrapping up the Colomwani deal as we speak.
The only obstacle that remains is his transfer market price tag. Because I think they want 55.
That's one hell of an obstacle.
Yes, 55 million or something they want for him last I saw. They agreed personal terms with Colomwani and that he is willing to take a pay cut, in fact, to go to Juve. But they haven't actually agreed terms with PSG regarding the sale. So as it stands, David is starting. I mean, if they do get what's his name, Colomwani and David and Vlahovic stays, they have 3 strikers who all are in contention for a starting spot with their national team with a World Cup coming up. So they have 3 strikers who will want to prove a lot. So that could be an advantage, even though I highly doubt that Vlahovic even stays. I think somehow they will have to find a solution with that. Be it they have to send him out and pay half his wages or something like that. Yes, I think that Juve have the advantage of continuity by keeping Tudor. I think they have a good starting 11, an underrated starting 11 because it's young and unpredictable. The likes of Cambiaso, Conceição, Locatelli, Thuram, these guys, Yildiz, exactly. I can't believe I forgot to mention him. They are beasts, And Jonathan David is a very underrated striker as well because this guy has 178 games in League One in France, with 87 goals and 16 assists, not to mention 18 Champions League games where he scored 10 goals and got 2 assists as well. That's a total of 315 professional games with 146 goals and 45 assists. He's a player who has been scoring for a while.
Tough to play against as well. Good center of gravity, very strong, smart, very smart, and having someone like Yildiz around the area to lay the ball off to, or someone like Conceição making a run in behind. He fits the team very well. He's good with his back towards goal and he's got good vision. That's why they signed Colomwani. That's why they wanted someone in that Zirkzee mold, as we were saying when they got Motta. I think they've had a very slow mercato, and I'm not completely and entirely convinced with how Tudor performed when he came in last season. I would go so far as to say that the main reason they made Champions League football isn't Tudor and that it's Motta, because it took so bloody long for Motta to lose a game and he racked up so many points. Of course, they were 11 draws, if I'm not mistaken, but I think Motta did most of the dirty work over there, and I didn't see Tudor as this kind of saving grace. I didn't see them improve when Tudor came in. Well, he had a limited amount of time to prove that to anyone, really, but he got the job done, which is always a good thing.
No, I think he kind of did solidify the team and reunited the team. The dressing room seemed a bit lost and he kind of united them. And of course they were still at risk of missing out on Champions League, and I remember there was a whole drama when Yildiz got that red card, remember? And we were like, oh my god, they have to win these 2 games. And it went down to the wire, but eventually they did make it over the wire, quite frankly. What concerns me about Juve more than the manager or the players, it's the fact that they've made so many mistakes in the past with Deadwood that's still there. And they're just ruining them. And every transfer market is marred buy these players. Vlahovic is hogging up that salary. He's not going to force a move.
No,
He doesn't
he's
mind.
make $1 million a month.
Exactly.
I
He's
wouldn't
making $1
force a
million a
move
month.
like
Yeah. Milik still plays for them.
crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
absolutely crazy.
And then they're removing someone like Douglas Luiz, who, granted, had a terrible first season, but there's a player in there. That's a move that's the Milan selling the Ketelare a bit prematurely, in my opinion. Quickly, because I think this is something important to discuss. Their defense after Motta. So their defense started off magnificently, and then they dropped off, particularly after that
Bremer's
4-4
injury.
draw to Inter and the Bremer injury. Bremer is back. There's always a concern that after an ACL injury, they wouldn't be back at their best. They don't know what his fitness is going to be like. Is he going to be able to stay fit? Are you completely confident in their defense, especially with Tudor as manager?
So I think one of the advantages of Tudor is his ability to tighten the defense. I do think that they could use some reinforcements because, as it stands, I believe Savona is technically a striker. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I think some investments definitely need to be made, but I think they're focused on sales right now, right? And I'm curious to see how Bremer returns from his ACL, because it takes a while usually to get back to it. But if he's back to his best, I think they're sorted because he's a good leader. Where do you have them?
Juve always make Champions League, but I have them in 5th for next season. I have them in 5th. I think it was a really, really slow mercato, and I'm not completely convinced by Tudor. I think he's a great manager. We've seen great managers fail drastically at Juve. We're going to see him for a full season. We're going to see some chinks in the armor. I don't know. I think there are other teams that have improved more than Juve. I have them in 5th.
Okay. I have them in 3rd.
Oof.
I think they have the advantage of continuity. I think their team is decent. I don't know if they'll be able to compete on all fronts, and that might actually be
It's a factor. It's a big factor.
What eventually clarts them in the end, for lack of a better term. But yes, I think they make 3rd. It's hard to imagine Juve out of the Champions League, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And I
Legally, they've always made Champions League.
Legally.
Because at one time they made Champions
In
League.
theory,
In theory.
I also think that Tudor is a great manager. I liked what he did at Hellas Verona and Marseille.
Yes, but at Hellas Verona.
Yes, but now we finally see him with a big team and with a pre-season.
Yes,
So
but
I'm curious.
that being said, you translate that to other managers that have made a big jump and they weren't quite up for it, for example. But anyway,
That's
let's jump to the next team. Next team is Roma. Atalanta lost Gasperini. Roma gained Gasperini.
Yes.
Roma gained one of the best managers in the league. A manager that perhaps hasn't won a Scudetto, but he won a Europa League, something that Roma loved. They loved the Europa League, and they got close with Mourinho. They made the final. They won the Conference League with Mourinho as well. They addressed the areas they had to address, which is very, very important. They signed a right back in Wesley, who's very, very good. They signed a centre forward in Evan Ferguson. A lot of people are joking about him. I think he's going to explode, this guy, under Gasperini.
Why do you think he's going to explode?
He's really promising. And I also remember in his first season, I don't know if it was in the Premier League or the Championship, he was a beast, bro. He was a beast.
He has 68 games in the Premier League with 13 goals and 3 assists for Brighton. He's 20 years old and Irish.
And Irish. I have a feeling about this guy that he's gonna be super. And
He scored 4 in preseason.
yes,
single
bro.
game
And
for
they
Gasperini.
it does seem to me that they're trying to offload Dovbyk.
Yes.
They're not convinced by Dovbyk, which is interesting, but a conversation for a different day. They also signed Neil El Ainawi, perhaps not their first choice central midfielder, but he's there. He looks very raw. I'm not too sure about him. I guess we'll have to see.
He played 59 games for Lens last season, and scored 9 goals and 4 assists, which is quite impressive, to be honest.
Yeah.
59 games. That must be in total. Let's say total. Because I highly doubted some onesie. What the hell? Yeah.
Well, it's a key upgrade from last season. The management, player-wise, they've added some depth as well. Last season, what we saw is, of course, that was the season they started with De Rossi, moved to Juric, moved to Ranieri, and after those 2 terrible spells, you saw what they're capable of under someone like Ranieri. They were 1 point away from getting Champions League over Juve, man. They showed really strong defensive capabilities, and they've got really, really good defenders as well. Someone like Indica is fire,
Yes.
and
Mancini's
now
doing
they've got Ghilardi, they have Mancini. I have high hopes for Roma this season, full season with Gasperini.
Initially I thought the same thing. I did have high hopes for them. However, I do think that Gasperini will need time to get the show on the road. This is his first gig in 9 years away from Atalanta, 10 years you could say.
And he struggled at like Inter.
He struggled in the past elsewhere, so I do think that there's a reason why Roma gave him a 3-year contract, right? This is meant to be a long-term project, funnily enough, even though he's not he's no spring chicken, let's just say that. Ghilardi, not too convinced about, but maybe Gasperini can make a player out of him. Wesley was brought in from the Brazilian league. Now he looks like he has a goal in him, and Ferguson looks quite promising. They've also signed Bailey from Aston Villa.
Leon Bailey.
Yes,
Leon Bailey.
He has 110 Premier League appearances, 16 goals and 17 assists, 119 Bundesliga appearances, 28 goals and 20 assists.
What's
so he is
Bailey's position?
He's a winger.
He's a winger.
He can contribute to a goal. It's funny that every time Roma sign a player, the way the fans welcome them, you'd think they signed fucking Cristiano Ronaldo every time.
Bro. But the best was when they signed Dybala. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was
when
amazing.
They signed Dybala. They've also got Dybala. They've also got Soler. They have people that can create goals from nothing. How fit can Dybala stay?
And Kone, one of the best midfielders in the league.
Kone, one of the best midfielders in the league. Inter want him. No, I think they're gonna push, and because they've ended the season with very high confidence, they're starting the season with very high confidence, and I think that's a huge factor, man.
But they were in the hands of Ranieri,
who's still there.
But the environment in the dressing room day in day out was very positive, and they had a person they respected, a club legend. Now it's Gasperini, and you already see kind of clips of Gasperini going, "Ma dove Ghilardi?" You know, where is Ghilardi? You know, and they're not exactly having the best pre-season, even though it's not very indicative usually of the full season. I don't know. I was quite high on Roma, but I've since mellowed down a little bit on them. I guess this can transition to our prediction. To be honest. I've got them in 5th. That's what I mean, mellow down. I had them in a Champions League spot and I took them out.
I had them in 5th and I had Juve in 4th, but I've swapped them around. I've put Juve in 5th and I've put Roma in 4th. Part of me is hoping that Roma get back to Champions League football. It would be nice to see a historic club like Roma back in the Champions League and allow Juve to be the sacrificial lamb for once. So a lot of it is wishful thinking from my end, but I also believe a lot in Gasperini, and I also think Evan Ferguson is going to have a very good season, and I think they made some smart signings, and I don't think the Mercato's over for them.
So you're taking Evan Ferguson on Fanta Calcio?
Maybe. Maybe. It depends, but then it's fucked, because if they keep Dovbyk and I spend a lot on Ferguson and he doesn't start because of Dovbyk, it'll bug me, obviously.
Yes,
it'll screw me.
That would be absolutely terrible. How long have we been discussing Roma?
No, we were 4 minutes 20 seconds.
We're good. Okay.
4 minutes 40 seconds.
Okay. Excellent.
Huge.
Great. So we can move on to the
Fiorentina.
It's Lazio, no? Or is it
Fiorentina? Fiorentina.
Okay, I left them out.
You left Fiorentina out?
I left out the prep for them, I think. No, here they are. Yes, okay.
Pioli's on fire. Yes, Pioli, one of the few managers in the league that has won the Scudetto before. Yes. It's him, it's Sarri, it's Conte, and Allegri. Yes. It is completely underrated what he did at Milan. Of course, he won the league, but did you see what Milan were like before he won the league at Milan? He completely stabilized the squad. He really is a great manager. You saw how the fans got behind him. You saw how respectful he was of the team, and you saw the kind of atmosphere he created. Everyone was best friends. He's a great manager. We saw him struggle at every single other team he's represented in Italy. But he's back and he's dying. He's already talking shit, Pioli. He's dying to show people that he's not just a guy that had it good at Milan, that just won the league out of this kind of fluke. So he has that fire in his stomach. He has a good squad with some top attacking players and also defenders. I am unsure of their midfield. They've addressed that by signing Simon Som from Parma and making Fagioli permanent and bringing in Fazzini as well. And then they've made some signings like Dzeko, which is interesting. And Viti. Dzeko and Viti have come in as well. They obviously have last season's second capocannoniere in Moise Kean, which for some reason I'm not entirely convinced that he's going to stay at Fiorentina.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely on the radar of many clubs. However, nothing quite indicates that he's been close to leaving up.
He won't go to Saudi a year away from the World Cup. Like, even though Retegui did that.
Yeah. Retegui's rise to the top was very... It was overnight, and then he cashed in immediately.
Let's just say, if Retegui was a Hollywood actor, he'd overdose in, like, a jacuzzi or something, you know what I mean?
And play a key role in the hit series Friends.
God. Alright, I'm a too personal. He didn't overdose, bro, he drowned.
No real impressive signings in my opinion. Dzeko is okay. I know that Dzeko is a timeless player.
Yeah, but he's
obviously 39 years old nowadays, so it is risky. And Som played 37 games for Parma. He was very important. He was solid. He managed 4 goals for them. I think they have the luxury of choice in many positions. They have many players who are decent, but not many who are spectacular. I think Pioli is the type of manager who could unite this group. I think that when it comes to the starting 11, they actually have a decent team on paper and in theory. Do you think he'll continue with the 3 at the back, Pioli?
No, I think he'll go like 4-3-3. I think he'll use Goodmanson likely out wide, for example, with Keane up front. I think he might shift to a 4-4-2 sometimes.
I see him doing... imagine he does like a 3-4-1-2 with Dzeko and Keane up front together. He tries to play them both.
Would be quite crazy.
It's not...
with Goodmanson behind them.
Apparently,
Gosens on the left and Dodo on the right.
Yeah. Journalists have been hinting that some teams in Italy will be trying this next season.
A 3-4-1-2?
So, for example, Bologna as well. Bologna plan to partner Immobile with like Castro up front.
Ooh, you dirty fuck.
yeah. Fucking Italiano.
The 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2.
Yeah, it would
packs,
be cool, huh?
It packs the middle of the pitch and also offers very easy width as well. It's an incredibly versatile.
He thrives.
It's a very versatile formation. And Goodmanson can potentially play a 2 up top as well if he doesn't feel like playing 39-year-old Dzeko.
Yeah.
And that's where Fagioli can play as the attack midfielder or Fazzini, for example.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, man, they have the flexibility of choice and the advantage of a manager who has won the league, so the team can believe in him. However, despite all this, they're not very high in my rankings. Huh?
I'm not entirely convinced, man. I'm not completely convinced. I'm not gonna lie.
The signings don't quite inspire hope. I mean, I get that they had to redeem many players like Fagioli, Goodmanson, Gosens, so they had to spend this market, but they were on players that were already there. Yes, I have them in 8th, bro.
I put them in 6th. I put Fiorentina in 6th. I think Pioli's on fire, bro.
Pioli's on fire.
I think Pioli's on fire.
Nice.
As simple as that.
Nice, yes. We'll see. I wasn't sure, to be honest. This is a very difficult league to predict.
It's so difficult, bro. It's so difficult. And the thing is, with the top 10, like someone had to like drop significantly, because in the top 10 you need to include certain teams nowadays, bro, like Bologna, Como, Fiorentina, and like it's really hard. Lazio, unless Lazio are next, actually.
Just to confirm before we move on, you're at 8 with Fiorentina and you're at 6.
Correct.
Yes.
Amazing.
Correct.
Amazing. So
Lazio. couldn't make any signings this
Yes.
summer, of course. And Sarri didn't know that when he rejoined the team, so he was instantly gonna walk away.
Lotito
Again.
pranked him.
Lotito
So,
literally pranked
you
him.
remember when Lotito brought in Bielsa, and Bielsa arrived at Lazio and like left shortly after when he realized what the conditions were of the club and what he had to work with. I'm surprised Sarri didn't walk out, but it's a good thing because it might potentially save their season than them having a good manager. Because Sarri, there have been two different versions of Sarri at Lazio.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one with the total football approach.
Came second.
Exactly. And then there was the second Sarri, the last season Sarri, where he tightened the defense and was quite pragmatic as a manager.
That's when he crashed out completely, though.
Yeah.
No, he's like, went to the dressing room. He's like, if you want me to stay, stand up. And like, no one stood up. Until like he resigned the next day, bro. I swear to God. That's what happened, no? No one stood up.
How embarrassing.
He's like
embarrassing.
chewing cigarettes, man. I've never seen anything like it in my life, bro.
Apparently, one guy once gave him a lift with his car, and he was like, "The only condition I have is don't smoke in my car, please." And I was like, "Okay." That was like a really long drive. Apparently, he went through an entire packet in the passenger
no shit,
seat.
bro. He is a smoker, bro.
Yeah.
He's a smoker like no other. But anyway, sorry.
Yes, we're totally killing time. So, no signings. The one thing that Sarri might not be happy with is that they don't have a striker who can consistently score goals. Maybe he can revitalize Dia, I'm hoping. Castellanos, as we know, is more of a support striker. He's a goal scorer of fantastic goals, but will miss the simple ones that you need to score, quite frankly. Belayan, who is an exciting piece with Sarri, got injured, so we didn't get to see him in pre-season. Let's remember that Sarri made Casale look like a very good defender at Lazio. So if he can make Casale look like that, what can he make Gila look like? That's what I wonder. So I'm not too concerned about the defense. I think Lazio might actually be quite a unit and be quite tricky to play against because they kept their players.
They did.
They didn't bring anyone in, but they kept their players. And now they have a better coach. They have one of the best coaches in the league. There aren't many better than Sarri.
It's true. It's
You know?
true. However,
And he doesn't need a deep squad, especially if he's playing once a week. We saw him at Napoli. He played the same 11 players pretty much for a full season.
yes, but the thing is, Lazio have a good starting 11. A good starting 11. I don't think it's good enough to compete with the top teams in Serie A, for sure. They won't be anywhere near the top 4, in my opinion.
Okay.
And whilst everyone else was improving their squad, Lazio couldn't improve their squad.
That's true.
Which is a huge, huge problem. And last year, we complained about their depth, which, of course, not that important when you're playing once a week, barring, obviously, there's the Coppa Italia that exists as well. But if Zaccagni gets injured, if Guendouzi gets injured, they're in the shit completely. I think Sarri, they couldn't have it better almost with the manager that they've chosen to stick with them through this process, but it's not a nice situation that they're in at all.
I agree. However, I think their depth is better than you are alluding to. If Zaccagni gets injured, let's not forget that they have Pedro, who is still deployable. They have Cancelleri.
Pedro's a left winger.
You can play him anywhere behind the striker, Pedro. They have Noslin. They've got Cancelleri, who's been playing like a fiend this preseason and who was actually quite good towards the end of last season. Even scored a goal against Milan. Yeah. And he's been good this preseason as well. Looks like one of their best players. So I think, plus let's not forget as well that Zaccagni towards the end of the season, last season, drifted off. So it's not like they have this key player that they're relying on, you know what I mean? They have had different players step up in different moments.
Yes and no. Who stepped up for them?
Pedro
for
stepped
them?
up a few
Pedro.
times.
39-year-old Pedro.
I mean,
They don't have much more, bro. As in, Isaacson is their starting right winger who he's okay, not much of a contributor in that sense. And then their starting striker isn't much of a contributor. And then their left winger is Zaccagni, who's excellent. They've got a good, solid defense. Their double pivot is solid with Rovella and Guendouzi, But any injuries over there, so Belayan injured now. What are they going to play?
think
Patrick in midfield like they were doing last
The
year?
problem wouldn't be to contributing to the system, but people need to step up and start scoring, man, to relieve these strikers. Thank you. I think like Castellanos would be so good and so much better respected if the players around him actually scored the chances he set up for them. Because it's true. It's true actually. Goals don't really come from many different places. For me, I think that they can finish 6th, and I predict 6th.
Holy fuck.
Yes.
No, 10th.
10th?
10th for me.
I mean, it could
10th.
go either way.
It could do once a week thing and Sarri thing are two strong factors.
I
But
think-
whilst everyone was improving and literally all the teams around them have improved in some way or another, barring maybe one or two, which we'll discuss later, I think that's a huge factor. Like everyone's ahead of the curve. There's so much tape on them. It's crazy. There's so much tape on Lazio.
Yes, there is. However, if I look at some of the teams around them, you look at, for example, is Sarri a better manager than Tudor, than Kivu, than Gasperini? Let's say he's on par with Gasperini.
Well, I don't think the manager is enough when you compare them to squads like that.
But
If
then
you're
if you're
comparing
playing-
Lazio squad and manager to
But
Inter
it's not
squad
like
and
their
manager.
squad is terrible. He has enough to. We've seen Lazio become a very difficult team to score against, and I think with Gila, Romagnoli, Nuno Tavares, and granted Marusic, they can be quite a unit defensively with Rovella and Guendouzi and Delabashiru.
And also a factor in your favor is they can sign whoever the fuck they want in January.
Yes, and probably they'll waste it on Insigne.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But Insigne would be on a free, no?
Yes.
In my opinion, they needed a defender, they needed a midfielder, they needed a striker, and they needed a right winger. But that's
there are gaps in every department, unfortunately.
huge gaps, huge gaping
and Lazio
gaps,
aren't
bro.
known to invest much in January either.
No
Ever
way,
historically,
no.
they never do anything. Last year they brought in Belayan, they brought in Ibrahimovic and Prostegard, and none of them played.
Prostitute.
And prostitute guardian.
They brought in prostitute Zlatan. Next, bro. Yeah, let's cut the shit and do what we just wanted to do this entire episode. We've got our Milan. Milan finally. Now Milan, there's honestly a lot to discuss because Milan went through that moment of transition last season after losing Pioli, and it failed completely because they went through two managers in Fonseca and Conceição, and the question is who was worse. So that's not great. Milan finished in 8th, and they lost Reinders and they lost Theo. Okay, Reinders and Theo Hernandez, two huge players. If you were gun to the head, 3 players you don't want to lose to any Milan fan, and they would say no, Leao, Theo, Reinders. That's the classic. But Milan lost Reinders and Theo. They have gained a manager that knows the league more than any other manager in the league, in Massimiliano Allegri.
Yeah.
Someone that knows how to win it even more than Conte, because he has more victories. And with the loss of Reinders, they have really invested particularly in the midfield. So the midfield, which last year was Reinders and Fofana, because they always played with a 2-man midfield for some unknown reason, there was a clear misbalance over there. They essentially had a box-to-box and an attacking midfielder. It's like, where's the guy that controls the tempo?
Yes.
Where's the ball winner? So Milan have invested in Yashari, Ricci, and Modric, which already that sounds like a great balanced midfield 3.
Yes.
And there's still Fofana, there's still Loftus-Cheek, and these are players that Fofana and Loftus-Cheek, you might say, okay, they're just Fofana and Loftus-Cheek. With a manager like Allegri, let's imagine these guys just going up 5% because they have a pro manager that they are actually going to work hard for. They've also made signings like Kone De Winter, which allows them to play a 3 at the back. Also, that was a direct replacement for Chao. And the replacement for Theo Hernandez is Pervis Estupinian, or as we call him. I don't know if you want to say it. Pervert the R word.
Pervert rapist. You can say it straight up.
I don't know, bro. It's up to you. If we get cancelled now, it's on you.
Who's gonna cancel us? We upload to YouTube. Who's gonna delete our video? You know? Yeah.
Oh, maybe YouTube.
No.
Also, Zachary Athekame, who they're calling the next Maldini, and Pietro Terracciano as a sub goalkeeper.
I fear that maybe fans are getting a little bit ahead of themselves. While I do feel positively. As if he says
How can you not get carried away, man?
Yeah, careful with the banging of the table because of the camera, by the way.
Sorry.
Yes, I think that while I'm a big fan of bringing in Allegri to steady the ship, Allegri is one of the better coaches in the league. I do like the players that are being brought in. However, the players that are being brought in are still risky. They're all risks.
Fucking yawn, bro. How are they risky?
Because let me tell you, Ricci is the smartest one.
Yeah, Ricci is low-key the best signing of this mercato.
Yashari is a risky signing.
Okay.
Right? For the price you're bringing him in, for the league you're buying him from, he's risky. Right? Estupinian is a risky signing.
Estupinian is risky.
Is he good enough to be Theo's replacement? I'm not sure. Modric is alright. You're bringing in the guy, the leader, the
Ballon d'Or winner,
the best footballer Croatia has ever produced, and the best footballer Milan have ever purchased. I think. I don't think Milan have ever purchased a more decorated player. Maybe
true.
El Fenomeno, maybe.
And maybe Rangin.
But no, none of them have won as many Champions Leagues as Modric.
True.
To be fair.
The most decorated for sure.
But I don't know, man. And they bring in De Winter. Is De Winter a clear upgrade to Chow?
No, it's not a clear upgrade to Chow.
Not at all. In fact, the defense got worse.
Did the defense get worse?
Of course it did. Well, Chow was meant
to
be.
But the defense
the
got worse individually. But
yes, exactly.
They're
obviously
good. Allegri and a three at the back.
Allegri and Ricci marshalling them.
Exactly. And a three at the back formation.
Absolutely.
And Pavlovic with a year under his belt.
Yes.
I revitalized Tomori and De Winter at a three at the back. Bro, let's not pretend that Chow wasn't super mega ultra error prone.
They were all super ultra
was.
mega error prone, all of them, every single one of them. Tomori, Pavlovic, Gabbia, they were all.
Just seemed a bit more innate to Chow to me as an error prone defender.
I think on his day, Chow was the best one of the lot.
Yes. On his rare day.
Yeah.
Quite rare.
Yeah, all of them were rare, to be honest, especially last season. But don't get it twisted. Okay. Don't get it twisted. We
discussed nothing, bro.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think the striker situation is a serious problem that needs to be addressed ASAP. The league starts in a few days and they only have one striker, Milan. Only one. That's terrible. And Leao was injured. So who's going to play striker? It's going to be Jimenez with
Pulisic.
With Pulisic playing off his shoulder or something. Yes. Don't get it twisted. I believe in Allegri. I believe in Milan. I have them in second.
I have them in second also. Yeah. I have them in second. And I think okay, maybe don't get carried away, you know what I mean? But everything is looking very positive. You look at the camp, and last season the problem was the players' attitudes and how everyone was sulky the entire time. Yeah. You look at the camp now, there's none of that, bro. They've got the CEO of Aura Farming as their manager now in Allegri, who's really raised the spirits, reminded people what it's like to be a fan of Milan and to represent Milan. Milan need another striker, for sure, but I also fuck with the 3-5-2 where Leao starts as a striker, and I love how I switched on Milan to watch them for the first time, and in the opening 10 minutes, Leao scored a header. I'm fuck yes, man, that's an excellent sign. Yeah. Don't get carried away from pre-season, because last year, Fonseca made Pep Guardiola go mental on the bench, so won't get carried away by that.
Scraping the skin off
also, Yashari, bro, is the next big thing. I don't get carried away.
Yes.
Yashari is top. He's top beyond his years. You'll see.
Okay. I hope so.
See. Bologna. You didn't prep them either, bro. You're hilarious.
I have them right
okay. Bologna.
Yes. Bologna under Vincenzo Italiano also have the advantage of continuity. They have lost Beukema and replaced him with Vitic. Who is Vitic? Vitic is a player who has 92 games in the Czech Republic. He has 10 goals and 2 assists there as well, while he has also featured in the Champions League. So when it comes to pedigree, he is definitely quite experienced. Granted, not at this level, but at a respectable level. Other than that, they have added Immobile to their arsenal. Now, Immobile, of course, although being a risky signing, has always scored no matter where he's been. He is a player who has 201 goals in Serie A and 51 assists, as well as 30 games in the Super League, most recently scoring 15 goals and getting 4 assists. And the fans of Besiktas, I believe it was, were actually quite upset to see him leaving. It's an interesting moment. Bologna last season, I think the table isn't very telling, because they won the Coppa Italia. They made it to the Coppa Italia final rather, and put all their eggs in that basket. And when they won it, it's almost like they surrendered the league, because they didn't need to join in the last minute hassle that there was to get a decent finish in the league when they had already qualified for Europa League. You know?
Exactly.
Yes, so I think that they have the advantage of a very good manager, one of the best in the league, one of the most underrated managers in the league. I think the fans are over the moon and the club is in very good spirits. But I'm not too sure about their Ndoye replacement, considering it's Bernardeschi and he's already injured.
I think the loss of Ndoye and the loss of Beukema are two huge ones.
Yes.
And not only do I think they're two huge ones, but the fact that they've spent 2 seasons essentially downgrading now. Where before it was, because Calafiori and Xerxes, and we're like, relax, everyone's just Calafiori and Xerxes. Then they had Castro and Lukumi and Beukema and XYZ, kept Freuler, this and that. But now they've lost Beukema and they've lost Dan Ndoye, who last year, Dan Ndoye was incredibly important for them. If you watch Bologna, you know that. Whereas in the past, Italiano sides have really struggled to create chances. At times, they had this outlet that was incredibly direct, and that would go straight for a goal in Dan Ndoye, that would create a bunch of chances. And I don't feel like he was adequately replaced as well. I think that last year, whilst you're right completely, I think what Bologna had was a very long and good spell towards the midway part of the season. I think they struggled in the beginning when they were juggling it together with Champions League, and they were one of the worst sides in the Champions League. And then they picked it up with the Coppa Italia and the league. But before that, they were really struggling, and even towards the end, with just 2 competitions, they were really struggling and not being able to split their resources. So that is a fear that I have, that with their squad, they can't really do 3 competitions. So getting Europa League was almost a bit of a disservice for them.
I think that now that they have experience in Europe, though, I mean, they had Champions League football the season before, and they were off to a terrible start. And then they won their first game quite late on, in fact, when it was already too late for them. I do think that the team has experience now. Orsolini's still there, which is massive for them. Ferguson's still there, so they have their own leaders in their own right. Holm is fucking, he just can't hit the ground running.
No, he can't.
Injured. He keeps getting injured. He's injured again right now.
Crazy, man.
It's disappointing, because I like him. I like the player. But I think that Bologna are one of those teams that kind of will continue to push for those lower European spots and might do something in a potential cup run. For me, I don't have them higher than 7th. 7th is the prediction I have for them.
7th is fair. I just want to say before I say anything, yes, they didn't exactly replace Ndoye with the best player, but they still have Dominguez, who's very good, a very good winger.
Dominguez is very
young,
exciting.
Plays in that position. They would rotate them.
Conceição type.
Yeah, so they still have Dominguez, Castro, who's an absolute fucking phenomenon. And then Orsolini on the right with a bit more experience. Just because I think they're gonna compete on all fronts and struggle. I think they're gonna be in 9th, man. I think they'll finish in 9th, Bologna, which is no improvement from last season, unfortunately.
It would be the first time in a while that Italiano's finished solo.
Italiano finished 9th last year.
Yes, but he won the Coppa. I mean, he qualified for Europa League. Without Coppa, I think they could have finished.
But what if he lost in the Coppa final to Milan? You know, which is a possibility. Like, he's lost a lot of finals.
But then they had games after that. Remember, they didn't necessarily win. If I can't recall, but yes. Italiano, as in, okay, let's say it would be the first time in a while that he wouldn't qualify for a European spot. Because he has been finishing in Conference League or Europa League for, I think, 3 seasons in a row now.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll see, He'd be very upset to hear that.
Okay. Oh, I didn't want to offend Italiano in that one. Next, Como.
Let's just find them in my disorganized list.
Of course, Como, they got promoted last season, and they finished 10th. They obviously showed that Fabregas is the real deal, that Fabregas has an eye for talent and has a clear vision of how he wants to play his football. As the season progressed, we saw them continuously getting better. They started off a little bit stale, a little bit dry, but once they got those patterns going and they tightened up their defense, they went on a stretch towards the end of the season that really showed how far they came along as a team. Not only that, but they have a unique way of playing, and Fabregas really does have a special eye for talent. I think players like Nico Paz, Diao, Kakare, etc., were really good buys that no one else really saw. And now we're seeing them sign people like Jesus Rodriguez from Real Betis as well, Nicholas Kuhn from Celtic, Martin Baturina from Dynamo Zagreb, along with a few other players that they've also invested in, like Morata, who's there to bring some stability and leadership in the attacking role. I think Duvikas was a good player last season, and I saw him banging in a few goals in pre-season as well. I like them. I like how consistently I saw them improve throughout the season. And I look at the players that they signed, and I'm like, these guys fit Como really, really well. Unfortunately, I think they have already really high expectations for only their second season in Serie A. I think there are really high expectations that can bite them a bit in the ass, but I think they're grounded, and I think Fabregas knows what he's doing.
That's what you get when you spend 100 million euros on players in a market. You know, you get these expectations. Of course, the project is exciting. The signings seem smart. Again, the players you mentioned, like Baturina, is one of Croatia's most hyped talents at the moment. He had 4 goals and 10 assists in 33 games last season in Croatia, 5 goals, 8 assists in 32 the season before. So he's slowly rising and cementing himself as an important player. Ramon is a player that they signed. He's a Real Madrid youth who has 3 appearances for Real Madrid.
Shout out Ramon.
And 1 goal. Ramon, the man. Kuhn is a winger who can also play as a forward, 15 goals and 46 for Celtic, and Rodriguez has 21 games in La Liga for Betis last season with 2 goals, 1 assist, and scored in the Conference League 2. Output isn't his forte, but he
barely played, to be honest, though. He was coming in towards the end.
Games. He's a very tricky player, though, can cause a lot of problems on the wing. And this goes without mentioning, of course, the likes of Kakare, Nico Paz, Diao, etc., and Morata, who's going to be empowering all these players and leading the line. I think in theory they have what it takes for a European push. Now this will be a real opportunity for Fabregas to show if he's the real cheese or not.
The real cheese.
Of course.
No, but you don't think he proved he's the real cheese by finishing 10th straight after promotion?
I think sure, but it's not like he didn't have the backing of the team. He had more of a backing than many teams below him did. You know,
because of the budget.
The budget, the players brought in. You know, he had a better season than Hellas Verona have had, a better market than Hellas Verona have had in ages, for example. Or Torino as well. Torino, they're barely backed. You know, the players.
Yes, Monza were back though. You know.
Monza were back and they finished quite high. In fact, when they went up at Palladino, you know, they were mid-table. But I think at this point, my point is that this team can push for a Conference League spot.
I think they will be competing for a European spot this year.
Yes.
Will they get it is another question.
If Fabregas finishes 13th, this team has no place in 13th. It's a failure, and it would be a disappointment for him.
Absolutely.
Is my point. Yes. I don't know. I've seen people predicting and putting them in Conference League and Europa League. I don't know. I think
I move them up and down.
It's a bit premature, I think, personally. I have them 1 spot ahead of Atalanta in 9th.
I have them 1 spot ahead of Bologna in 8th.
In 8th. Cool.
Yes. And I had them in 6th, bro. I had them in 7th.
Yeah.
I was letting me do that math thing that I like to do. Get carried away with a team. But I think 8th is a good step in the right direction, and I think it really sets the precedent. And I do think they will be in that 6th and 7th position, battling for that 6th and 7th position. I think they'll be considered as one of the top teams next season, along with Bologna, Milan,
also,
so on and so forth.
If they have a great start, watch everyone get carried away.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, funnily enough, did you see what Fabregas said about Strefezza's departure?
No.
That he lost many nights of sleep because of it. Yeah,
bro.
How dramatic he is. I mean,
Jesus,
you're spending
relax.
100 million, you're gonna cry over Strefezza.
He literally signed a great replacement
Yeah.
for him.
I'm very excited about Baturina.
I am incredibly excited for Baturina, bro. He's the one I'm the most excited
I
for.
mean, where do you fit these guys? You know,
Bro,
he's got so many
He
number 10s.
only has attacking midfielders.
Yeah,
only attacking midfielders and a few wingers,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
But there's a good episode of him on YouTube. There's this page that they get coaches to their tactical breakdowns. And Fabregas speaks really well in his. I'll send it over to you.
Sure. Was it the one where he said he spoke with Capello and Capello told him he have to defend and he told him
I don't
that's when-
think
that's
so.
when I realized that I didn't have to defend or something.
I don't think so. He talks a lot about width in this,
Okay.
and how he creates width and creates space. I'll send it over to you.
Alright.
Next up, we have Torino.
Yes.
Torino, the kings of the 11th place, man, of 11th and 10th. Torino. Nick, you get why I told you that when you said, "Who the hell is gonna finish 11th?" And you were doing it, thinking, I'm like, that's the easiest question I've ever been asked in
Yeah.
my life.
It's always
Always,
Are you
always,
guys
always
feeling
Torino.
hot? Shall we put the
I'm
AC a bit down? I'm
Fucking
boiling. I'm boiling, bro. Can you get
I'll
the
be
AC
right
removed?
back, man.
Yeah. Because I just looked at Nick and he's a sight right now.
No, I'm fine.
You're fine because I'm quite warm as well, to be fair. Let's put this down.
Put that down to 22, bro.
Let's put that down.
Okay, 20, barely legal, huh?
Christ.
Okay, Torino.
Torino,
Who did they lose, bro?
So they have Marco Baroni as their manager because they lost the nerd with the glasses. I forgot what his name was.
Yo, bro,
What was
Vanoli.
it?
Vanoli. He lost the low-key guy that would be chill at parties, like, you know what I mean?
Till the stroke lights come up.
I was gonna say the same thing. How bad. Nick, I edit that screen, bro. It's gonna distort
Yeah,
everything.
It's gonna fuck everything up. Trigger warning. So they've sold Vanja Milinkovic-Savic and replaced him with one of the least popular things out there at the moment, Israel.
Franco Israel.
Yes, and Israel is a player, a goalkeeper, who is actually a youth player at Juventus. He's from Uruguay. And he played for Sporting Lisbon, where he managed 24 appearances and actually 10 Champions League appearances. So it's not a player who...
He's from Juve,
Juve's
Juve Next Gen.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I
He's
think
quite-
21 appearances over like 3 seasons
Yeah.
at Sporting. He was by no means a starting
Uh-huh.
goalkeeper
Uh-huh.
for them, anything of the sort.
Yes, but I mean, we definitely knew that they weren't going to get an upgrade.
Absolutely.
Over Vanja,
But I do think they could have gone for, I don't know, Falcone, Montepo kind of mold. A goalkeeper that is proven in the league and actually
Yeah.
quite solid. I don't know anything about this Franco Israel.
Yeah, this
Um,
might be the next one. Who knows? I think it's going to be interesting to see Torino with a different approach, right? I mean, Baroni as a manager has had teams performing very defensively like
Mhm.
Lecce, but we have also seen that the second he has players with offensive capabilities, he goes mental. Like with
Mhm.
Lazio, he created this hyper offensive unit with bombing fullbacks
Yeah.
and smooth transitions. I think that Torino, despite not spending much and coming out as losers with losing Ricci and Milinkovic-Savic and Elmas left as well, I think they still invested quite intelligently. Ismaili
did.
as a centre back is very smart.
Absolutely.
Anjorin is an interesting midfielder. Ngonge is a...
Anjorin is a very, very promising
Yes,
midfielder. He's
I think
very
so.
good.
I think so. He was very good at Empoli. Ngonge is a diamond in the rough who had a good time at Hellas Verona, and he wasn't playing much at Napoli, so it's worth taking
Yep.
the risk. Why not? And then they brought in Abu Klal. Abu Klal, is it?
Yo, yes.
Yes, and Abu Klal had 7 goals and 2 assists for Toulouse last season, and 15 goals and 5 assists in 22-23.
Oh, wow.
So he's a striker who can score goals. So in the
A
event
winger,
that-
if I'm not mistaken, like a right-sided
Yeah.
winger.
in a forward, let's call him that.
Yeah.
In the event that Zapata, Shea Adams, or whatever who was it? Zapata or Shea Adams? I think that's it.
Zapata or Sanabria.
But Sanabria's left. He's joined Cremonese.
Okay.
In the event that they don't
Cremonese, cooking,
perform,
huh?
this guy might be able to score some goals. Vlasic is the guy. I'm speaking of.
Vlasic, nice. They've also signed Cholito Simeone
Yes,
as
that's
their
the guy,
leading as their leading striker.
Yes, that's very interesting as well. 2 diamonds in the
Leading.
rough from
Yes, from
Napoli.
Hellas Verona and Napoli.
Hellas Verona.
Wow.
Yes, amazing.
Mm.
The problem that I see with Torino, and Mattias actually texted me this, and he was like, "Please mention this because it's a serious issue," is that they don't have defensive coverage in midfield. They've been playing their friendlies with a double pivot. They conceded 3 goals in every friendly they played. They've been doing really badly in pre-season. Anjorin and Casadei were tried as a double pivot, and it reminds me of Milan last season.
Yeah.
Because you have like Fofana and Reinders who aren't really defensive midfielders. They also tested out Ilic and Tameze, but still conceded 3 goals. So these 3 were conceded to Valencia, and they played Monaco twice as well, and they lost all those games.
In fact, I'm not seeing a Richie replacement in the slightest.
Like Anjorin is not that. Okay.
Oh, wow, Torino took time, man.
Yeah, they lost Karamoh as well. Fun fact.
You'll never guess where I have Torino,
You'll
bro.
never guess where I have them, bro.
3, 2, 1,
11th.
11th. Well, that just to put them in 11th again, like crazy.
Amazing.
Next up, Udinese. Who would have thought that those two would be right after each other?
Udinese, by the way, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and label Udinese as the most fucking boring team in the league next season.
Yes.
Next season, they will be, for sure, the most boring team in the league.
They lost Luka, Thuvan, Bijol. That was all 3 things that were exciting about
the
them.
only good thing about this team might be in prison soon.
And yes, and that Madonna. I forgot about him.
There's Solé. Solé is an exciting player defensively and going forward.
An exciting player offensively and a troublesome guy, whatever, man.
Potentially and allegedly off the pitch. Yes, so we'll see how that develops. I like their coach, Runjaj.
Yes.
I think he has done very well with them so far. I don't like their owners who constantly.
They sold, no, Pozzo. Pozzo sold to some Americans.
Yes.
Yes.
Is this the work of an American group?
I believe so. Pozzo.
I mean, they have the advantage of continuity, so probably they won't get relegated, but probably they won't fight for Europe. They'll be at the beach 2-3 months before the season ends.
Yes, Udinese were sold after 39 years.
Oh, wow.
Pozzo family to an American group.
Who are the Americans? For 150 million. How many patrons would we need to buy Udinese?
A few more. News is I don't think it's
So the team has no creativity. They haven't bought anyone. Their strikers, as it stands, are Eco, Bravo, and Davis. Although I think they will be physical and well disciplined, I think they'll be difficult to score against. And for the smaller teams, especially, they'll turn every game into a scrap. But they don't excite me at all. One player that does excite me on this team is Lennon Miller from Motherwell FC, who they brought in for 8 million. He's a midfielder who has an eye for goal as well. Lennon Miller, remember the name.
There's also Arthur Atta, who's I believe we've seen Atta at Udinese already. I believe he was loaned from Metz and now they've redeemed him. And of course Goglio Chidze.
Atta has been scoring in pre-season, fun fact.
Okay.
Yes. And Lennon has 2 goals and 8 assists in 49 games in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah. Their new owners are the Guggenheim partners. No, it's the Guggenheim partners. The Guggenheim partners. They're reportedly worth 200 million.
No.
Yes.
50 million, no?
So literally though, the simple case of minus here, and I think with the assets that they've lost in Luka, Thuvan, Bijol, and the fact that Solé is, that's their Udinese's market value down a little bit. I would like to see a little bit more spending over here. I think if you lose a top striker like that, and then Thuvan, who was the captain, the number 10, everything, like if everyone else is shit, Thuvan is there cracking shots, trying stuff, encouraging everyone. Bijol, there isn't. People throw a ball in the air for a walrus to head or whatever, and Bijol is there before the walrus to head the ball away. Solé.
Really good, but
let's ignore Solé. And by the way, apparently Inter wants Solé.
But I don't see them doing
But Inter also don't like
drama.
and
Yeah.
you know that kind of person if he is that kind of person.
Whatever.
We suck at avoiding controversy.
It's wrong, like, let's
we
not-
really try to pivot around it and we make it worse because Solé, if he did what he did, really bad. Udinese, I'm expecting a slight drop off because of the talent that they lost.
Same.
I'm not crazy to think so.
No. They are going to be extremely physical and boring. I think it's going to be a 14th place finish.
Okay, I have them in 13th. Not a crazy difference.
Yeah. Hopefully these Americans turn them around because I miss having the likes of Rodrigo, De Paul, Di Natale. They've always had fun players. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's weird seeing them like this. Even last season, they had a fun element back with Tuvan and
they
Luka.
had Molina back in the day as well that I really liked. Of course, they had Alexis Sanchez, Duvan Zapata back in the day. Luis Muriel. Who else? Let's just keep saying former Udinese players until the 2-hour mark, man. Those are my favorite nights, man. You know what I mean? When you're just sat there having a beer with the boys and you're just saying like, of course, a lot of my friends are Prem heads, so we go like Clint Dempsey. Clint Dempsey, man. We're just like streets will never forget players.
Jordan Ayew.
Genoa, the team projected to get their primo Stella this season. No, we both have them there. Genoa, who managed to hold on to Vieira, who was highly sought after. Inter were interested in Vieira. Of course, they lost De Winter, they lost Ahanor, and they lost Pinamonti because he was there on a loan and now back at Sassuolo. In their stead, and they've gotten Colombo from Milan on a loan. They've gotten Ostigard as a centre back. They've gotten Graham Bake from Rennes. They've got they've got Graham Bake. Valentin Carboni on loan from Inter, and Stanchu on a free transfer. Can I just say something? 777 group or whatever sold Genoa to this Romanian super rich guy while we were in Romania. That was fire.
Yes. Cool.
He didn't spend 1 cent.
No.
Free transfer, loan transfer, loan transfer, loan transfer, loan transfer.
And this Mercato in particular is lit.
I
I think they did a fantastic job.
Carboni's lit, Colombo's good.
I
as
like
in
Carboni a lot.
Carboni's
I
very
think Inter
good.
could have kept him for a shift, to be honest. Stanchu, I've been a big fan of him since the
Really?
Euros. Yes, man. He scored that crazy goal, man, for Romania.
It
man.
just clicked in my
Stanchu! Exactly.
No wonder Mr.
Bro,
Romania, man.
And I don't
signed
know
him.
if you watched the pre-season goals, no, the Coppa Italia goals of Genoa, but Stanchu scored a screamer and had a phenomenal assist as well.
Really?
With a dink assist. And he was playing in like Saudi or something, I think, last season.
He was, yes, at Damak FC.
Yeah, which is weird. Gronbach, or however you pronounce it, is interesting. He scored 8 goals in 14 starts in Norway.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in 2014.
In 2014?
That might be wrong.
What was I doing in 2014?
Okay, so let's say he scored 8 in 14 starts in Norway, moved to Southampton, where he got 2 starts. He has 9 starts in League One for Stade Rennes, 2 goals and 1 assist, 1 goal in EL as well, and 1 goal in the Champions.
It's definitely not 2014 because
No,
he's
no,
24.
it
He's
can't
24.
That must be 2024. I must have missed it.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, lol, for sure.
My chubby ass finger. So that's an interesting player who's capable of stepping up with a goal, something that kind of Genoa always have these midfielders like Thorsby.
Yes,
You know, they get you like the old goal in
exactly.
And then Colombo as well, who is in need of a good season.
I hate how this is always
every year we talk about
with Lecce. Colombo has the opportunity. With Parma, Colombo has the opportunity. He always has the opportunity.
But this is the best
Genoa are a
he's
good
been
team.
at, huh?
Exactly.
Yes.
Genoa, he can perhaps do it at Genoa. Another huge factor, by the way, is Friendrup. Top teams are still interested. Now we're seeing, for example, Milan have some drama because Saudi clubs want to offer 35 million for Fofana and Rabiot's on the market, so Milan might look there, but they also like someone that can control tempo like Ricci. So there's Friendrup, and Inter want a bit more depth in midfield, and there's Friendrup. Juve need a midfielder and there's Friendrup. There's always Friendrup.
Yes.
And Friendrup is an option for all the top teams.
I think he'll go to Inter.
Yes.
Because he's a cheap option for them. They want a midfielder. I see that happening. Hopefully he stays at Genoa. He's a crap
I hope
man,
so.
great player.
I hope so.
I'm high on Genoa this season, bro. I don't know if you're ready to give your
I am
give
ready.
your prediction. I have them in 12th.
I have them in 12th as well.
Nice. Oh.
Nice.
Is this the first one we agree on?
No, we agreed on Napoli, Milan, and now Genoa.
Oh yeah. Where have I been? So now we have Cagliari, is it?
No, bro.
Who's
No,
next?
of Hellas Verona.
Hellas Verona.
Yes, Hellas fucking Verona, brother.
Shout out Ben.
Shout out Ben. I'll steer clear of some jokes. So Hellas, last season it was a massive surprise to me that they held on to Zanetti for as long as they did, and they were rewarded because, okay, they were battling relegation the entire time, but they finished above Cagliari. You know, they did a decent job. They were the safest ones out of that battle towards the end, even though it still almost happened. Now they're going into another season with Zanetti. There is an element of continuity that is very, very important. They have redeemed certain players like Sar and Niasse, and they have brought in players who, obviously, guys, we haven't heard of them, and it's completely fine because Verona signed them. Apart from Castanos, who we know, Bradaric, who we know.
But they signed those already.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so the guys that they signed now, Unai Nunez, Valentini, and Belgali, and the Bosse, we actually know three of them.
True.
So Belgali, we don't know him. He played regularly in Belgium 2 years ago, but didn't feature much last season. He's a 23-year-old Algerian. No idea. He's one of the randomly generated ones. Bosse, we know him from Udinese,
Yes.
even though he disappeared off the face of the earth last season.
Mm-hmm.
Unai Nunez is a 28-year-old player who has experience in La Liga with Athletic Club and Celta Vigo, who started
Yes.
regularly for many years. So that's actually a pretty good, solid sign.
Okay.
And then
okay.
Valentini, who we know from Parma and Fiorentina, right?
There's also Antoine Bernardet from
yeah.
Lausanne Sport in Switzerland.
Valentini is very exciting. He currently is injured, so he'll miss
Okay.
the first game of the season. Also, Freze is back and playing regularly, and in pre-season he's been scoring. Now, Freze, last season I took him on Fantacalcio, fun fact, because he is an interesting wing-back who contributes to goals. But I think last season he must have had some personal issues or something, because he was never on the injury list, but he was always missing from games.
Okay.
Either he kept having children with many different women.
Yeah.
I don't know, and he kept having to go to the hospital every time. But I don't know what happened. Like, where was he?
At the hospital because he was having
You
multiple.
know that happened to me on my FPL this
Wait,
season. No.
Jesus. All right, let's.
On FPL this season, I started Damsgaard, who was meant to be starting. Yes, and he randomly didn't feature. He wasn't on the bench. He wasn't on the injury list or anything. I messaged him. I'm like, what the hell? Where's Damsgaard? I'm a man down on my first game of FPL. It's like he had a son. He had a child. He was at the hospital.
Damsgaard's lying to everyone. He's getting a hair transplant. That's what's going on. They also lost. Let's talk about who they lost. They lost Coppola, huge.
Massive loss.
They lost Chachua, quite
Very
bad.
loss.
They lost Gilardi, quite bad for them, and they lost Duda, which is very bad.
That's bad
That's,
when you lose Duda.
When you lose Duda, it's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, bro.
Yes.
So let's cut the shit, man. Verona have been meaning to get relegated for like 3-4 seasons
Yes,
now, no?
yes.
Is it happening this year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, bro.
I think they're still too good defensively. You look at their attacking lineup. Mosquera.
Too good defensively. I
and
literally had a
Sar.
whole ass bit of Zanetti bending over, coughing, and
But they're
letting
better now
everyone
'cause
have
they've
their way
brought-
with
they've
him.
brought in four defenders that are going. They have a new defensive line. Bosse, Unai Nunez, and Valentini will all start, and Belgali, whoever the hell he is.
It'll be rocky, but they'll survive by the skin of their teeth. Classic.
I think they have once again the advantage of continuity.
Yes.
I think many of the bottom teams lost their minds this season when it came to employing a coach. In fact, I don't even have them that low. I have them in 15th.
Oh wow, I have them
Yeah.
in 16th.
Yeah.
Okay. Not bad. That 15th, Hellas Verona
bad.
climbing
Ben.
the ladder. You see Ben Well, it does when Jake knows a Hellas Verona fan is listening. Completely changes his outlook on everything.
He's been listening, Ben,
Legend,
and
Ben.
messaging me, bro. Go easy on us.
I remember that. Hey, Ben. Next up, we've got our favorite, bro, Cagliari. Cagliari, who last season had Davide Nicola, and now they've replaced him with 39-year-old Pisacane. Pisacane, who has represented them as a footballer over the past few years also, and also looked after their Primavera squad, which means that we probably met him, by the way, when we were at the Unipol Domus. And he won the Coppa Italia with them. He won the Primavera Coppa Italia final against Milan. Thank you, Leah, for that information. The best things that they have done in this mercato are holding on to Piccoli, Caprile, Gaetano, and Adopo.
Yes,
that
agreed.
was incredibly important. But they didn't stop there. They made some more signings. They got someone from Besiktas named Semih Kilicsoy, Michael Foloruncio, Gennaro Borelli, Sebastiano Esposito, and Luca Mazzitelli.
Yeah.
That is a very solid mercato for Cagliari.
I am high on Esposito.
Yes.
I think he's extremely technical and has been showing good things for a while now. I think that this is a decent enough team to allow him the freedom to create and to link up with some players who can be quite exciting as well. Foloruncio is a hard-working player who the Sardinia fans are going to embrace and
Yep.
accept and love, because he bleeds on the pitch. He has also managed 8 goals for Bari and 5 for Hellas Verona. I like the defense with Mina and Luperto.
Yep.
I think that the riskiest thing about this team right now is their manager. Even though he knows the team well and he has progressive ideas, it's of course risky bringing in a
It is,
manager
of course,
for his
it's a
first
risk.
game
Of course, it's
like
a risk.
that. Also, Idrissi is risky as well, because he's a 20-year-old midfielder with 13 starts in Serie B only. The new signing, Idrissi.
I still think they have a lot more players that they can play in that position. I think Augello is quite a loss, for example,
Mhm.
as well. And I don't see that they signed any left backs. I guess maybe Pisacane is cooking something over there. I think they will improve from last season. I think Pisacane has shown what he can do, of course, just at youth level. But even in pre-season, I quite like what I saw by Cagliari. My worry is that Piccoli is being linked away. They've just redeemed him, of course, for I believe 12 million euros. But if there's the opportunity for a team like Cagliari to make 20 and get that kind of capital gains from him, I fear they might do
They
it.
might, I think so.
I really hope they don't, because he really showed that he can be the guy for Cagliari. As he did last season, he hit 9 goals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think unfortunately with these teams, it's a case of everyone is for sale. Right?
Yep.
If they come in with the right price, it's daft for them to not to hold on to them. Quite frankly, the question is, will they reinvest? You said you see Cagliari improving,
Yes.
so finishing higher than 14th.
No, not higher than 14th.
No, because I
They
see them.
finished 14th
Yeah,
last
man,
year.
they
Jesus,
finished- they
go
were safe,
Cagliari, man.
They were good with Nicola. They were never actually relegation threatened, I believe, especially in the second half of the season.
They were a bit.
For a while, they were
bit.
at the bottom, as in contention, but halfway through the season, I believe.
It's true, it's true.
I think I'm just gonna go ahead with my prediction. Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have them in 17th, surviving by just 1 point, 1 place. As in, not 1 point, just 1 place.
Louise,
17th.
drama.
Yeah.
We almost had our first relegated team of this episode. I went 15th. 15th, still in the mix. We know how relegation battles are.
Yeah.
That's not bloody mid-table.
Yeah.
The relegation battle goes to 14th in Serie A
Exactly.
typically. So
The table is just Torino and Udinese.
exactly, no questions.
All right.
Okay. Next up, we have Parma. Parma, who last year, let's not get it twisted. Parma had a very strong start last season, and they enjoyed playing their game. No, it was the name of not Strappa.
No, last season they
I
had.
have it somewhere there. Not Stroppa.
I can't see.
Christ, the fuck was his name?
Sounds like
Give me a
what the
sec.
internet right
Ah,
here.
Madonna, you're right.
We're referring to the paper on the wall.
Stroppa. I always mix his name up with Stroppa.
What was
Jesus.
his name?
God, you're slow.
And you're fast, huh? You haven't even opened the browser yet.
Where the hell is he, man? Pecchia.
Pecchia, yes. There we are. Yes, Pecchia. Pecchia failed to kind of change things up when things got tough.
Pecchia blew everyone out of the water in Serie B, and he went up to Serie A, and he kind of wanted to keep them playing that fluid football, and
Yes, it was too open.
they stunned a few teams. They beat Milan 2-0. They beat, or at least took the game to a lot of top teams. But the problem was it wasn't sustainable at all, and we saw them crumble. And for that reason, they had to bring in Kivu, who really did a good job to steady the ship and just get them to avoid relegation. I believe they had such a strong team last season. Unfortunately, so they've replaced Kivu now, who's off to Inter after they just like gave him a contract. He went to Inter, and they replaced him with Cuesta. Cuesta, the assistant manager of Mikel Arteta,
yes.
29-year-old Cuesta. Everyone on the internet is saying he's a great man manager. You know why they're saying he's a great man manager?
Because Arteta's a great man manager.
And because Arsenal have a series out and you can see him speak to players, man. I'm sure if there was that with
Of any
every
team,
single
yeah,
team,
yeah.
you'd be like, well, everyone's a good man manager, you know? So I'm not convinced. I'm very, very skeptical. I know he's good at creating scenarios from dead ball situations, or at least Arsenal really were, and apparently Cuesta had a big part to do with that, so that's important for relegation threatened sides. But they lost Kivu, they gained Cuesta, they lost Man, they lost Boni, they lost Leoni, they lost Som, and they lost Mihaila. They gained Friggin.
But Friggin has already suffered a knee injury. They brought him in for 10 million and he's out already.
Friggin knee injury.
Friggin knee injury.
Or Donetsk, who we've already seen there, no? Oliver Sorensen and
bro?
Oliver Sorensen. And Abdoulaye Ndai.
Yeah.
So a serious lack of Serie A experience in
big
their
mistake.
acquisitions,
Big mistake.
and they lost top players, man. They're top
They
players.
did. They still have decent pieces in
Bernabé,
Keita,
Del Prato,
Pellegrino's
Suzuki,
nice. I like Pellegrino. He's a good striker.
Pellegrino.
However, yes, I think that Parma leave a lot to be desired, and it's a crazy thing employing a 29-year-old
It's
manager. Are you crazy?
fucking mental.
You're telling me this guy is going to be telling Juric what to do?
10 years older than
Exactly.
them, like,
He's 10
10 years
older.
older.
And way too old.
You posted that of that little kid predicting about team talk to that basketball team going, I put my butt on there.
Exactly. Literally. I think it's risky, but I think that somehow they survive.
Oh my fucking god.
You don't think they
Really?
survive? I think their team is decent, man.
They do have a decent team. I
think if it all goes to shit with Cuesta, they'll just sack him and
they
bring in
had
someone
a
safe.
good team last
Yeah.
year and they struggled so much. Because I don't know Cuesta too much, I have them in 19th, bro.
Oof.
19th, one before the last.
Jesus.
Our first relegated team.
I have them in 16th.
16th?
16th.
Okay, 16th and 19th. Wow, you're big on Cuesta, huh? What's this?
Not really. It's just the other teams, unfortunately, looking at their lineups. It doesn't
Okay.
inspire
Okay.
much hope.
No, lineup isn't terrible of Parma, and I often said I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of Parma. Last
Yeah.
season, I bought you a kit of
Yeah,
Parma.
yeah.
You know, I love them. But it is what it is. I think they're taking a huge gamble. I don't think they've
Absolutely.
settled managerially yet.
Absolutely not.
Live out that.
Here we are.
Next, we've got Lecce.
Yes, Lecce have employed Di Francesco,
Uh-huh.
who has been relegated back to back in the past 2 seasons, He's the man, of course, who led the famous comeback for Roma against Barcelona 2017. He also got Sassuolo 6th place in 2015 after getting them promoted, earning them a spot in the Europa League in the 2016
Yep.
season.
That's when
So-
we were on the cruise, bro. Life was peak.
Let's remember that Di Francesco used to be the real cheese again, second time. So that's how we should name this episode. The real
The real cheese, not prediction episode
Exactly.
25-26.
Exactly.
The real cheese.
They have brought in Camarda from Milan. They've brought in Sotil. They've brought in Kwasi in the defensive department. Kwasi is Baschirotto's replacement. He's
I
22
thought you were
years
gonna
old.
say Quasi's Baschirotto's girlfriend for some
No,
reason.
he is. So they got rid of Baschirotto, who was
Yes.
the heart of their team, and replaced him with a 22-year-old called Christ Owen Kwasi.
his name's Owen Kwasi. It's just he's always doing something inappropriate.
Exactly, Christ.
Christ, Owen Kwasi.
Kwasi is 22 years old. He played in the second division in France, classic Lecce.
Yeah.
Lecce haven't been inspiring me lately.
They're losing Kristovic. They've lost
They've lost
Kristovic
Kristovic
officially to
to
Atalanta. God knows. So their leading striker, 17-year-old phenomenon, to be fair. Camarda, who's looked
Who's
insane
been
in
flooring defenders,
pre-season.
huh, in pre-season.
He's been flooring defenders. I'm not going to say it's just any 17-year-old. It's
Yeah,
Francesco Camarda, but they are banking on a 17-year-old.
Yes, and
you know,
Sotil.
and
for the
Sotil,
creative face.
and Sotil.
And 5'2" angry Lamek Banda.
And a manager that got relegated back to back.
Now-
Sorry, but it looks to me that they want to get relegated.
Funnily enough,
Oh God.
this manager, no, it's true.
Ah.
The manager that they signed in Di Francesco actually seems like a safe option compared to what the other teams around them have done. Like
safe, I
Pizzacan
don't know.
and Cuesta. Definitely don't have as much experience as Di Francesco in managing a relegation team.
No, but Di Francesco almost has a 100% success rate of getting relegated when taking over relegation
Yeah.
threatened sides.
I think
The only
that's
thing
true.
I would say is that that's good for Lecce, as last season they really struggled to score goals. Di Francesco sides never struggled to score goals,
Yeah.
so that's something.
Yeah.
But I don't have hope for Lecce.
No, I don't have hope for them at all, to be honest with you, bro. And I have them down in 19th.
I have them down in last.
Last?
In 20th. Of course, my 19th slot was taken by Parma, so Lecce in last place, which would be very sad. Of the southern
It would be,
teams,
yeah.
you know, that they've got a huge fan base, really strong fan base, rich history in Serie A. But the decline has been there and it's
Yeah.
present.
Absolutely. So I think we can move on to Sassuolo. I mean, the rest, you can pretty much assume where they're going.
Wait, there's a mistake here. I made a mistake here. Look away. Sorry.
Alright.
Sorry, you can go on.
So Sassuolo have Grosso, who got them promoted from Serie B. He won the league with he wiped the floor with Serie B clubs last season, comfortably winning the league by 6 points, and he was 11 points off third place,
Yeah.
which would have got them a playoff finish. He also won Serie B with Frosinone in 2021, but has never coached in Serie A. So this is Grosso's first gig
Yep.
in Serie A, because instead of coaching in Serie A, he went to France, got beaten up, and came back.
Exactly. Almost got, I think, Lyon relegated.
Yeah.
Got beaten up. Man,
No.
what a disaster. Poor guy.
It was a disaster. Sassuolo have strengthened their team. They've brought in Jay Itzes, who has slotted straight into that defensive position and increased their Instagram account by about 100,000 followers.
Legend, bro.
Muric is their new goalkeeper. Walukovic was brought in. You'll remember him at Cagliari, I believe.
Yes.
And Pinamonti will be their striker going forward. Let's not forget that they have Volpato, the Australian Italian who played for Roma. Berardi and Lorionte
And
Thordsvet
Thordsvet,
and
bro.
Bologna are all still there. You remember them in Serie A from the last time.
Absolutely.
Sassuolo were there. I think that this team is decent and can do pretty well in Serie A. I think they can play without pressure, and if their key players stay healthy, they can finish in a decent position.
That's the big factor. Can their big players stay healthy? Even though in previous seasons we've seen Berardi be out for the majority of the season and they've still managed to do relatively well. Last season was one of them. I think they had Pierini, who handled that replacement quite well, and I
Yeah.
believe they have another few players who can do that. They brought in Fadera as well, who's an interesting signing. He did okay for
pretty
Como. I think individually they were never a team that should have gotten relegated. I think they hung on to a manager for a bit too long and then maybe went for a profile that is only suited for battling relegation. So it was from one extreme to another quite drastically, from D'Aversa to Ballardini. If I'm
But
not
they went
mistaken.
for Ballardini late. I believe there was something they
No, they had their caretaker manager
had the
for one
caretaker,
game, I would
yes,
say.
was
I
it?
don't think there was.
Because I remember
anything
talking
else.
to Alan about it and saying, why don't they go for Ballardini? And then
They went for Ballardini.
But it was too late, I think.
It was too late.
Yeah.
It was too late. My only question mark, really, I know the team can do it in Serie A. We all know the team can do it in Serie A. Is the manager the right fit? Clearly, they wiped the floor with everyone in Serie B. The players had a lot to do with that because they are Serie A players. Let's not get it twisted. Is the coach a Serie A coach? That's the question.
He's earned the chance to coach there because he's won it for the second time, Serie B.
Yes.
So I would say so. Is he a coach who survives Serie B? Serie A is another.
Doesn't necessarily mean he's a Serie A manager.
Coach.
Pippo Inzaghi, for example.
But Pippo Inzaghi is priming himself for Serie A. He'll be there in no
Yes,
time.
but he wasn't there yet, even after he got 2 teams promoted.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to do it a third time before.
Yeah. For me, I mean, the only non-relegation spot left for me is where I've put Sassuolo in 13th.
Okay. Wow, 13th. I have them in 14th. Okay, so I see what you're doing here, dog. Jesus, aggressive.
I'm telling you, up, down.
Fucking hell. Alright. I have Sassuolo on 14th. Next up, we've got Pisa. Shit, I made a mistake, man. Shit, Nick, I made a mistake. Can you put Parma in 18th, please? I meant to put Parma. Look away. I meant to look Parma. Jesus, guys, sorry. I meant to put.
Glass of wine.
I meant to put Parma.
He's been banging the table.
I'm sorry, bro. It's really not bad. I'm just tapping this.
The camera moves.
Oh, you're right. Throw that, man. I meant to say 18th for Parma. Apologies. Thank you. Sorry, guys.
So yeah, Parma, but you said relegated, right?
Yes,
Relegated.
relegated.
That's fine.
Well, that gives away something. Pisa. Gilardino's Pisa. Pisa finished second last season. They were consistent. They were solid. They kept Spezia out of second place. They even gained some distance. They have a good project with good owners, from what I've heard, and a strong brand, marketing the city the same way Como do, yada yada. They brought in some players with Serie A experience like Quadrado, Abisher, for example, Nzola, Scoffet. I don't think they're going to be ass. They have a manager like Gilardino who showed us that he is very capable of getting a newly promoted team far, like he did with Genoa, getting them up to 11th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And also showed that when he doesn't have the right players at hand and when he has a thin squad that is struggling, that things can go badly for him. I think he's a very promising manager and his future is in Serie A. I don't think he should be coaching Pisa. I think he should be coaching a better team, and I think this season is going to do him a real disservice because I don't see Pisa staying in Serie A. I see them in 19th.
I don't see them either. I like the signing of Abisher in particular. I think he can give them a bit of solidity in midfield. Nzola's a wild card. In reality, bro, he's had 3 good months, 2 good months at Spezia, and that's it.
He's had a few more. He's
I
racked up
wouldn't-
goals for a few seasons at Spezia.
But there were 2 months where he was scoring.
There were 2 months where I thought he was the fucking best
Goals.
striker in the league, man.
But he was even when like they had that playout game against Hellas Verona, he really shut the bed and he was
missed
one
the
of
penalty, no?
Yes,
Yeah.
and he was just awful that game.
But back in Serie A now,
Uh-huh.
sure he has a point to prove.
I guess so. I think Gilardino's a good manager, maybe not quite ready, and maybe this team's a little bit too poor for him to actually do something with. I'm a big fan of Tramoni, and I can't wait to see him in Serie
Yes,
A.
Mattia Tramoni, because I had a
Yeah.
fright, or Matteo Tramoni. I had a fright because I saw they had a Tramoni leave the club, and I'm like, shit, they didn't get rid of Tramoni, did they? And it was on a free to like Zurich or something.
God.
I'm like, no way. And I think it must be a relative of his.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
And they also have Quadrado, fun fact.
Yes.
For me, they are dead last.
Dead last. Pisa,
Yeah.
up and down for both of us. Jake has them in last. I have them in 20th. And now we move to Cremonese.
Yes, we can just say where
Cremonese.
we put them. Because
Absolutely.
It's the
So
last
for me, clearly, it is 16th.
black. Ooh, you believe in that David and Nicola juice.
I believe in David and Nicola. Wait, quick, say where they ended up.
Hold on,
in
I
the-
might have done something wrong, because here it says Verona 16. Did I place it wrong for you?
Verona, for me, we're 16th, you're right.
That must mean Cremonese.
Verona were 17th for me and Cremonese 16th. I made a mistake.
No worries.
I think I did my prep drunk, bro. Not a lad this episode. What a
It's
disaster.
Okay. I think could have been my mistake as well.
No, bro, it was most definitely. Wait, let me see, actually, because if it's your mistake, I'm gonna destroy you. No, it's my mistake, bro. It's my mistake.
Nick
It's my
remains
mistake.
undestroyed.
And you're in 18th, Cremonese, is that right?
Bro, yes.
No.
Okay, I believe in Davide Nicola, yes, because every time we saw him take on a relegation threatened team, he's avoided relegation. But so Cremonese got relegated. So they went up and then got relegated immediately. This was 3 seasons ago. Since then, they've been consistently in playoffs, and consistently when I watched them, I thought they were better than the teams in front of them. And on both occasions, I thought they should have been the team to get promoted. They've kept a lot of their stars, a lot of their top players, and they've brought in a player like Van de Putte, who was insane for them last season. They've brought in Baschirotto, they've brought in Warren Bondo and Filippo Terracciano, they've brought in Zerbin, Grassi, Pezzella, Audero, Nava, Silvestri. They've got 3 really good goalkeepers there, man, to choose from. They could use a striker, for sure. They could use a striker, but I think they have a good team. I think they play very energetic football in quite an attacking way. I think Nicola will give them a good balance. I see them causing some upsets, some problems. They'll still be battling relegation, of course, but 16th Cremonese, I have faith in.
And I don't blame you for putting them in 16th, because if you look at this team in the hands of Davide and Nicola compared to that Cagliari team and that Parma team in the hands of their coaches, you would expect Nicola to get this team further.
Yeah.
However, I'm not quite sold on this team. I don't think they have enough. This to me screams it screams relegated. Many of these players I've seen them go down so many times. Grassi, Pezzella, Bonazzoli, Zerbin. These guys are almost out there relegation experts at this point. Granted they have Serie A experience, and these are the players that you go for when you need solidity. They're the available Serie A players, but I don't know, man. I think they haven't brought in enough for me to say this team is safe, to be honest with you. Even though Davide Nicola is the man you want when the odds are against you. By the way, keep an eye on Van de Putte for fantasy football, all you Fanta lovers.
What the hell?
99 Serie B appearances, 14 goals, 27 assists, so he's somewhat of a specialist.
Yeah. You make good points about their team, their players typically getting relegated, but they also then have players like Castagnetti. They just have players. In my Piquel, for example, Valotti.
But the same, bro. These guys have all gone down.
They've all gone down, sure. I don't think it makes much of a difference that they've gone down. Actually, they've been in that situation before.
Fair.
And I don't know, they look really good on the pitch together. To me, Cremonese, whenever I watched them in the playoffs, I thought they deserved promotion. Even not last season, the one before. They had lost in a crazy game, if I'm not mistaken,
Cagliari,
man.
No, that was Bari.
Who had gotten promoted from the playoffs? Was it? No, I got it. Who promoted in the playoffs last year? Venezia.
Yeah.
Venezia. In the final.
Yeah.
0-0 and 1-0, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll see. I have them in 18th, of course.
So that's official, guys. You have our tables right there. I don't think we hyped up the start of the season enough because there's literally Serie A happening this Saturday after
I can't wait.
3
to be
months.
honest. It's been so long, and I'm gonna watch everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the fuck out of everything.
I have a wedding on Saturday, and Luke Wilkinson, I'm gonna be on my phone. It's a good thing you didn't make me a groomsman. But before
It's off
we
with Sassuolo Napoli, certainly gas it up a bit while we're here. Sassuolo Napoli is an interesting fixture. Como Lazio is a good one to start off with.
they're all good
Yeah.
first game of the
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
even Inter Torino.
Inter Torino will be interesting. Cagliari Fiorentina will be interesting. Roma Bologna is
And there's like Cuesta's debut for Parma away to Juve.
Yeah.
You know.
Genoa Lecce,
Huge.
some staunch magic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
But before we close things off, we have Nick's standings. Nick, how are we gonna see them
I
while
sent it
you?
to you on WhatsApp.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck yes.
I'm keeping your tables up just so they compare.
Yes, please.
Okay. You want to come sit between us?
I want to, but my issue is that I don't want to fuck up the table.
Ah, fair. Or
So
come sit
there's
instead of
almost
me for this, so you can talk into the mic. You want?
But I would like to see your reactions. as
Ah,
well.
okay.
I would
Fair.
like to see. Like I think it's okay. Don't focus on me.
Okay.
So, all right. You want to present them to us? We have them in front of us right now.
Okay, so I don't think they'll hear me. I think I'd
Yeah.
rather you-
So he's
Okay,
got-
okay. So he's got Napoli in first, Milan in second, Juve in third. So far it's exactly like
Yeah.
Jake's. Atalanta in fourth.
Ooh,
Okay.
that might actually be. Who knows? Who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe Juric just stabilizes Atalanta.
Perhaps. Fiorentina in fifth.
Pioli's on fire.
Bologna in sixth. I just noticed that. Bologna in sixth. Inter in
You
seventh.
have Inter down in 7. That's good.
Roma in eighth. Inter seventh. Roma eighth. Very bold, Nick.
Why do you have Inter in 7th? What's the reason?
New manager. I just think if things go left, I think it would absolutely go to shit. I think because they'd have
Okay.
to assign someone else. I think it's very risky, and
Okay.
I'm not sure where it will stand. But I want to go bold with it because I feel like if there was a shock to happen this season, it would be Inter.
Perhaps. Roma in eighth. Quite bold as well. Como in ninth. Lazio in 10th. Same as me.
Yeah.
Genoa in 11th. Udinese in 12th. Sassuolo 13th. Cagliari 14th. Torino 15th.
Wow, that's low.
Very low. 16th Parma, 17th Verona, and the 3 relegated teams are Lecce, Cremonese, Pisa.
You agree with me? That's what I did for relegated
To be honest, it's
I don't think it's bad.
there are 3
Bold.
crazy
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
There are 3 crazy ones in
Atalanta.
Inter, Roma, and Atalanta, in my opinion.
But I don't think I did too bad, considering I guessed
No.
most of them.
No,
think
no, it's not bad.
It's a pretty good.
Especially
prediction, to be
the
honest.
Torino's is wild as well.
Yeah,
Torino's
yeah.
wild. But again, considering that your prep was looking at last year's table and a gut feeling, I think you did a good job,
Maybe
bro.
I'll put €10 on it, and like maybe God will do his thing. And I'll become a
Exactly.
millionaire, like, you know?
Exactly.
That would be
Exactly. Do €10 for Atalanta to get top 4. Not too bad. Not too bad. Very good. Okay, so the next time we'll be seeing you guys is match day 1 of Serie A. Every single team, every single week,
cool. Every single match.
every single
week.
match. Alright, guys. Sorry. It went a bit south for me. Yeah, guys, like halfway through I really started falling off on this one. Fuck.
You had two glasses of
I don't know.
Moscato
I don't know,
Dusty.
bro.
dude.
It's fucking embarrassing is what it is. I'm dying for a cigarette, bro. I'm going mental. I'm going mental.
Alright guys, thank you very much for listening, watching. Drop us a like, smash that like button. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know whose predictions you agree with, etc. etc. 5-star rating. We love you. Thank you. See you next week.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.